manager in a regional, I see the plight of the loan officer. They're like, I am doing everything Todd says. I am doing everything I'm supposed to, but I'm not getting the results. And so you're getting the results. And I want to know, like, did you feel that way too? And
Yeah.
what changed it? And what transitions from it doesn't work to I'm killing it? And that's what I think we want to focus on today, dude.
Yeah. No, and I think, that's what I like is it has not been an easy year by any means, right? Like I've felt why isn't anything clicking? I've had all those emotions, and eventually it always does click if you keep going, and that's really, I think what I felt is, okay, finally, there's the momentum I've been looking for,
Of course, we used
so
our word. So
yeah.
on that note, let's go ahead. It's 11:02. I do want to respect everybody's time. So thank you all for joining us today on our More Momentum series. Today we're with Sean Herrero, Cross Country Mortgage, part of our tribe. And as we were talking about, not only part of our tribe, but an originator on the street that's winning today. So these are the strategies that we promised you that we would bring you through the Momentum Builder community. Because if you just go to the event, yes, you have a lot of great strategies, but after I have those strategies, how do I keep my motivation? How do I apply the things I've learned? And how do I make sure that I win all year long? So Sean, I think today you're going to give us some nuggets of how to win in this market. And just like you were touching on right now, how not to give up when things look bleak.
Yeah, no, and it's been hard. Like, I think me getting to get into the Momentum Builder community, getting to speak at your event, it's an accountability thing for me. Like, I can't be the guy talking about how to do it and then fail, right? I have a responsibility, of course, to my family and myself of my goals, but I have a responsibility to this community to, like, not be the guy on stage talking and doesn't show up, So I think that genuinely applies pressure to me of, I want to show people it can be done, and I'm going through the same struggles. So I think the first 2 months were awful, like terrible, right? But I just kept going and kept working and kept working. And really, there's so much fear. I mean, now with the banking crisis in front of us, we have to understand what we do for a living. And I always tell everyone I do 4th grade math and psychology. And it's really important. And it's like, whoa, everybody else tries to make being a mortgage advisor sound like they're a doctor. Dude, it's not. We're not doing rocket science. I'm not saving lives. I do 4th grade math and psychology. And the psychology is the paramount piece of that, because you have to be thinking of how other people are thinking. Like, it could be sympathy, it could be empathy, right? People are freaking out. Like, I don't want to buy a house right now because everything says I shouldn't. Everything online says I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. Okay, well, then it's my job to help you overcome that fear. Or maybe we find through research and data that you're right. This isn't the right time for you. But that's really what the process has been for me, is I genuinely want to help people make an educated decision. I can't say I want to help them buy a house if it turns out it's not the right thing for them, but I want them to figure out if it's right or not through that process. And I think, that's really what's making this work, is just staying on that path, staying committed to what I believe in. And what everybody believes in is different, right? It's like, you can't do it my way. You have to find your way, and you have to find what you're good at and apply that with confidence every single day. Like, I think a lot of people are just waiting for things to shift. Oh, Barry said May 10th. Can't wait for May 10th. Then I'm going to make money again. Dude, I'm not waiting for that. I need money now. And I want people to understand that come May 10th, you're going to be competing with 20 people on every house. So you better buy it now.
Dude, I sent out an email this morning to my entire team and I said, refis today. Mm-hmm. Did loans at 7.25, 7.5. You can do them at 6.25 today. Save somebody 1%. If it goes to 5.25, we'll do that too.
Yep.
But there's refis opportunities today. Get on the phone and call people. And even if they don't do it today, let them know you're thinking about them.
Exactly.
Let them know, hey, I did that loan for you at 7.5. I told you I'd be watching the market for you. Your particular scenario is at 6.5. So we could do it today, but I think things are going to get a little bit better. So in the next 45 days, I'm going to just send you an application when it's time to go. Are you ready? And just tee those things up and have those conversations with people. And I think you said something that it resonates with me, the 4th grade math piece, because people always like, oh God, like over the years, Gino, you're so smart. And I'm like, I add, subtract, and divide. Like, I'm not doing like some crazy rocket scientist math. Yes, I'm very good at adding, subtracting, and dividing, but that's really, I am doing some very basic math. And
yeah,
The thing I think that was important for me. So I've held a lot of different roles. I've been the realtor, I've been the loan officer, I've run the office, I've been the manager. At the end of the day, people shouldn't buy a home because of the math.
Right.
Shouldn't. There are so many other reasons to be a homeowner. Like those are the things we have to talk about. Like, what does this mean to you? Why is home ownership important to you? Because you're going to have good school for your kids, because it provides safety, because it provides stability, because you want your children to be better people. I mean, there's all these other things that have nothing to do with the math. Now, if the math is good, that's good too.
No, I love that you just said that, because that's literally what I've been telling everyone. All the content I see on Instagram and everywhere else is how to get a deal, how to use the seller's money to your advantage. We've made home ownership monetary and investment only, when the reality and truth of it is, it's always been emotion. It's been a sense of pride. It's been, I'm doing something for my family. I'm not paying rent anymore. I'm not paying off the landlord's house. I am so proud that I accomplished this goal of home ownership. And we, mortgage and real estate, have gotten so focused on the money. So I was on a call right before this with a real estate agent. I was talking about the banks going down and, what are the impacts and what do we do knowing that this is freaking people out? And he was like, there's never been a better place to park your money than real estate. I'm like, dude, stop talking about the money. That's not why you buy a house. You don't buy a house to protect yourself from a bank crisis. You buy a house because there's a huge sense of pride in doing something that you want for yourself and you want for your family. We've lost sight of that. And so that's what you just said is what everyone on this call needs to do. When we have those client consultations, it cannot be an assumption of like, well, they're calling me, so I know what they want to ask. Ask these people, why is buying this house important to you?
That's my
And
favorite
pause
question.
and let them answer the question.
I mean, think about this. What if they say, my parents came from a different country and they were never able to achieve home ownership? It's part of the American dream for me, and it shows my family that I made it. What if they
Yeah.
have some meaningful story like that behind it? Then the fucking math doesn't matter.
Yep. I
Math
mean,
doesn't matter.
that was me. So we bought, I thought I couldn't afford to live in the area I live in anymore. So we sold our house in end of 2018. We were renting. I wanted to move down to Orange County. Somehow living 10 minutes from the beach is $250,000 less than living in the desert of the Bay Area. And so I wanted to move down south. And the reality, that was my excuse or my reason, right? The reality is I just figured I couldn't afford it here anymore. My wife found the perfect house, fits our
There's like
family.
$86,000 for a sandwich in San Francisco.
Pretty much. So we find, she shows me this house. I'm like, wow, this house fits our family perfect. Like the dynamic of my family, 2 older boys, 1 little guy. Boys have one side of the house, we have the other. It fits perfect. It checked every box on my list, and I didn't know I had a box, like a list, right? We have to have this house. And buying this house, there was we had a party. Like my wife's family's massive. We had all our cousins over. There's 20 kids playing in the pool. And I just remember stopping, looking around, like being super present in the moment. I was just like, I am so proud of myself for doing this. Like all of this is happening because of all the hard work I've put in to make this happen. Not one part of me was going, boy, sure, I'm glad I have a rate of 2.5. Can't wait to sell this for $1 million. Like there was none of that was in my mind. Like it was not money. It was pride, and it was emotional. And that's what people want. And I think if you ask somebody, why do you want to buy a house? Or, why is this important to you? Frame it however you want to. One, they're going to tell you why. And there's probably going to be some energy to it. Like there's going to be emotion involved in it. Or 2, you know what? I've never thought about that. And now I'm thinking about it. And Sean is the guy who'd made me realize the emotion of this decision I wanted to make. And I'm so grateful he asked me the question. Like that question can't go wrong, right? But we don't start there. We start with, hey, let me get you started in your application. We're going to review your income, assets, and credit, and we're going to show you what you can afford. Like we just go straight to the
on this link. Yeah.
Yeah, we just go straight to the numbers. And it's like there's a reason, right? And I think I'm so glad you said that, because that's literally what I've been doing for like maybe the last month. I just started doing that about a month ago. I'm reading a book, and there was a line in it. It said, nobody wants to buy a 1/4-inch drill bit, but they do need a 1/4-inch hole. And I thought about that, and I was like, wait a second. Like, okay, so they're saying if you're marketing drill bits, you don't talk about, what it's made of or anything. It's like, this is going to solve your problem, right? Nobody wants a mortgage. We've always known that, right? Like nobody wants a mortgage, but a mortgage is a means to an end to home ownership. So I started taking that as far as I could. Nobody wants a mortgage, but ... they do want to buy a house. Nobody wants to buy a house. They want ... The only way for me to answer the ... is to ask that individual person. And it's like, and then it gets more and more granular. And that 2 lines in this book just like changed things for me, because we are selling, or not, I hate the word selling. We are providing something that nobody wants, but they want the result of it.
So I'm thinking about that as you're talking about it, because one of the things that, I mean, and that proud moment as a homeowner, we've hopefully some of us on this call have had that moment. You're in your backyard, you're having a barbecue, everybody's having fun. Listen, I'm going to die someday, and this is what I take with me is these memories, right? I'm not going to die with my bank account going with me. I live my life. So, but what I wanted to get at is you're touching a little bit on, we're grazing how to improve our conversion ratio, because that's what I think we need to focus on. If there's less leads, then we need to focus on improving our conversion. And the only way to improve our conversion is to show people we care. I mean, you have to be genuine about it. You can't just do some sort of weird random interview that's not genuine to you. Be yourself. I mean, Sean, every time I've ever seen you in my life, you're wearing a hat, right? I wear, you know, it be yourself. People are on guard from a lack of authenticity in today's world. I mean, you watch this video, fuck, for all I know, we're all AI right now. This isn't even real, right? I got like 3 fake AI videos yesterday. So be authentic is super important. But did you solve, I mean, you put 15 deals in escrow in 2 weeks. I know we've been talking about a lot of other things, but we got to get to the point here. It's like, how did you put 15 deals in escrow in 2 weeks?
So I did it
or better conversion.
And so this is what I looked at. For me this year, and even last year, this all started last year, right? Has been, okay, the pie is smaller. I need to grab a bigger piece of it. So not only do I need to improve my conversion, which I can do by being authentic and showing people this is my path. If you want to work with me, this is how it works. And I will attract those people, and the people that don't like it, I hate to use the word repel, but I'll repel them, right? But I need to have more lead flow as well. That means I need to talk to more real estate agents. I need to add more value to clients. I need to have better solutions than anybody else. And that is where it started. So these deals are a result. It wasn't, they came up in 2 weeks and all of a sudden we're in contract. This is January, February, putting in a ton of work where things aren't converting, feeling that anxiety and pressure of why isn't this clicking? And then things come together. But I'm working through it start to finish. So, I'm working through helping them understand their why. Why do you want to buy a house? Why is this important? Because if they understand that, if we're in a competitive situation, I know how to overcome the objection of going up in price, because we're focused on the why of home ownership, right? So that's a big part of it. Like, being involved in that step is critical. Talking to the listing agent is absolutely critical. Helping the buyer understand what the difference in monthly payment is if they go up 25,000, 50,000, whatever the number is in price. I don't care about the price of the home. I care about what it costs you, and what it costs you is your monthly payment in cash out of pocket. So is this house worth losing over $100,000?
And I'm going to chime in right there.
Yeah.
Once you've owned a house for a long time, nobody cares if it's $5,000 more or not. I don't care if I bought it for $725 or $732 or $748. The only person that mattered to was the seller.
Right.
I mean, it just never mattered as a buyer. That never matters once you've owned a home for so long. People get hyper focused on these little things. And I think it's our job to say, you're focusing on the wrong thing. I've been a homeowner for a long time. I've done this for a living. I've helped hundreds of families like yours. This is what you should focus on.
And I'll tell you how I, because large majority of my clients are, I'd say everyone's pretty much under 45, first-time home buyers. That's who likes working with me for whatever reason. Price is a big deal, especially in our market, right? Like, first-time buyers buying 7-figure homes over and over and over again, and they're somewhat numb to it. So if we have to go up $100,000 in price, that's a fear point. Like, is this house worth losing over $100,000? Absolutely. Okay, well, the house isn't actually going to cost you $100,000 more. It's going to cost you an extra $250 in payment and $2,000 out of pocket, whatever the number is, right? Is it worth losing over $250 a month in payment? No, absolutely not. That's one dinner out. Well, don't ask what the house costs. We want to look at what is the house going to cost you. right? And just that shift is what changes the game. And I use Mortgage Coach for everything. So I'm not, if I tell them this, I'm selling them, right? If I show them how it works, it's just data and it's just numbers, and it removes the emotion of the lenders pitching me on going higher, the realtors pitching me on going higher. I'm uncomfortable. I show them how the money works, and then they build confidence. So like, I can't live without Mortgage Coach. And what's hard for me on these coaching calls is like, I'm going to do it the way Sean does it. It won't work. You have to find your own way. But I will say that Mortgage Coaches, I can't live without it. Like, but I've used it since day one of being an originator. So it's just part of me.
That's
But
a winning habit, right? And then maybe we could talk a little bit about
yeah,
habits, because clearly you did some really great things over the last couple of months to have the compound effect to have success. For me, Mortgage Coach, you described it in the same way. When I was originating, I couldn't live without it, because it was the method in which I delivered the information to my consumer in a professional manner. And my competitors are sending an email, or they're just doing it verbally. And look, I'm a good phone salesperson, but at the end of the day, it's nice to go over it and together, let's look at it. Let's look at it on the screen, and you could be interactive with them. And that's what I really loved when Mortgage Coach, I mean, when Don and I started, it was like a spreadsheet, right? And then now when it went dynamic, where you could be on the phone with somebody and be like, oh, let me change that for you. And it changed it for them, and you can highlight it. I mean, that really made it, bridged the gap for me, where it's like, why would I use anything else? And when we left Cherry Creek and came back to Skyline, we had a little snafu, and we didn't have it for like 4 days. And I walked into Don's office, and I'm like, and I don't want this to be an advertisement for Mortgage Coach, but this is a real story. I walked into Don's office. I was like, I got to send a quote. I don't know what to do. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, what do I do? Type it up? Like, what am I supposed to do here?
I wouldn't, like, I don't know how to use Excel. What do I do? No, I'm in the same boat. And so I want to give one example, because there was, just to your point. So I think the reason I feel this feels arrogant to say, but I think the reason I win more often, and whether that means winning the offer on a property or winning a client, is because of the data-driven approach that I take. So I had somebody who was referred to me at the last minute, wants to make an offer, mad dash pre-approval, right? So we have to do this mad dash pre-approval. We get it done. The offer gets accepted. And then the next day, those people that are doing the mad dash, they're not committed to you. They don't have a relationship yet. Those are the ones that typically don't stick, right? But I'm in Silicon Valley, everyone's in tech, a lot of, so they appreciate this approach. But she comes to me on the weekend and she goes, are you sure your Mortgage Coach, your presentation is accurate? I call them buyer's guide. She's like, are you sure your buyer's guide is accurate? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of why I work the way I work, because I want you to know exactly what the money looks like before you make an offer on a property. And she's like, your quote's better than everyone else. Like we've talked to 5 other lenders and you're better. And I was like, okay, maybe I did mess up, right? Like, how is that possible? So she sends me the quotes, and I just lined them up in Mortgage Coach. And I said, the difference is you're getting the same rate, but your discount points are higher, right? So where does that come from? It's margin. Either the lender's making more money than I am, the company's making more money than I am. It's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? That is the level of transparency I give people. It's like, look, all the money's coming from the same place. Doesn't matter if you use me or any of these other people. But that is why there's a difference. And then she's in, and this is another thing I tell everybody is, you're going to talk about this experience, whether it's good or bad. You're going to tell your friends and family. I have 2 choices. I have you tell them how unbelievable your home buying experience was, and they get excited and want to use me, or you tell them that I bait and switched you at the last minute. You're going to tell one of those 2 stories, and my future business is dependent upon the story being a good one. Like, I just don't think what we do is that complicated. We just have to start thinking about other people first instead of ourselves. Even though it's very slow and there's anxiety and we all have to make a living, if I stop worrying about the making a living part and I stay focused on helping others, it solves itself every time.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about what's in it for them, not what's in it for me. And when you put other people's needs first, they feel that. That's we used to call it commission breath. Right. And what ends up happening in situations like this, where we're trying to feed our families and we do have the pressure and the stress of haven't been able to close a deal in 3 months. Gosh, we forget as salespeople, we're super emotional. Like, dude, we are super emotional. If you get into a slump, like a sales slump, and you go 2 or 3 days without, you can't talk to anybody, you get all funky, and then you finally get a lead, now you're desperate. I mean, those are real things that happen to us as salespeople. That's why some of my best salespeople that have ever been on my team, they're streaky, I call it. Yeah, look, you just went on a streak, didn't you? You put 15 deals in escrow, you just went on a streak. And what happens? You feel great, you're on top of the world, all those fears about monetary, all that stuff's out the window, and you're just yourself. And then, so when you talk to people, they feel that, and they say, let's go. I want to work with this person. When you're fearful, they're fearful. We transmit our energy to our clients. So we have to really guard our personal energy very, very closely. Take negativity out of your life. And it's interesting, as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking more and more about Darren Hardy. Don and I have the benefit of, through Momentum Builder and through all our years of coaching, we've been close to all these people. And every time I'm having conversations, different coaches come to mind, and Darren Hardy comes to mind. You said earlier, like, the things you did a couple months ago are the ones that are giving you results today. That's the compound effect, right? You have to be able to do something because you know it's the right thing, even if it's not yielding results today. So that's something that I think about. And then the other thing is, get negativity out of your life. I mean, like, literally get negativity out of your life. Don't watch the news. Don't listen to that crap. And then if somebody's negative in your life, tell them. Sometimes they don't know. And I'm going to look behind me before I say this, but my wife's not home. But she might throw something at me. But the truth of the matter is, like, when she was like, for like 2 days, she was just angry at everything. I'm like, why are you so angry? And she's like, I'm not angry. I'm like, pretty clearly you're angry. And she's like, oh, I didn't notice. Sometimes people don't know they're being negative. Sometimes people don't know they're being angry. So if we're good friends, we should just call them out and be like, hey, you're not being great right now. They're like, what do you mean? Tell them, and then maybe they make a change in their life and help them out.
No, and it's like you're describing what my wife does for me. She'll always bring me back to zero.
Right, awesome, by the way.
Thank you. You're being like, she'll say, what's your problem? What? And I'm fine. No, I'm fine. No, you're not fine. It's like, wait, maybe I'm not. Like, I take a lot of pride in my self-awareness and self-reflection, but to your point, sometimes we don't realize it. And I love that you said, take the negativity out of your life. Like, if people in your office, I don't know where everyone's working from, but if you're around colleagues and they're talking negatively about the market sucks and this sucks and I want to get out of the business, do not be around those people, right? Get away from them as soon as you can, because it's not going to help you to accomplish your goals, and you're going to fall into their trap. That's why I'm by myself a lot, right? I mean, I'm not in the van today because I needed to have really good Wi-Fi, but I could go sit in a van and work by myself all day and not have I'm in control of what comes into me. But I will say that, you said, don't watch the news, don't do this. We know that from a client perspective, that's all the noise and negativity they're hearing. So there's an opportunity for us, the silver lining, the positive of that negativity is an opportunity to help them overcome that negativity. So like you said, it's like, if your friend's being negative, tell them. If your clients have a negative outlook, help them see the light, like help them see the positive in the opportunity that exists right now. And I mean, with my coaching group this week, I was like, hey, don't let a crisis go to waste. This banking crisis with these portfolio banks is a massive opportunity for everybody on this call to call all their real estate partners and be like, this is why you want to work with me, because we're not doing these quirky deals that are going to get things closed down, right? There's a good opportunity to win and build back relationships that may or may have been lost because of these programs that have ridiculously low interest rates and now they can't get their money out, right? So there's always opportunity. Like, there's always a silver lining, and that's what we have to look for. And so it's like, Sean, I love that you called it a streak. Because that's what it is. And I remember that all came together. Right? Yeah, but it's like bodybuilding. Like, if I go do 20 push-ups right now, nothing's going to change. But if I do 20 push-ups 3 times a day for 3 months, I'm going to look different 3 months from now. And it'll seem like it happened in an instant, right? I look the same. Whoa, I'm ripped. This is no different. If you do the consistent work that works, don't do stuff that doesn't matter. But if you do the stuff that will lead to your results, just do those things and go to sleep at night very happy you did what you know is going to make a difference at some point. I don't know when it's going to hit, but I know it'll hit. But to your point, when we hit the streak,
we're going to have to talk about what those things are. So go ahead, and then we'll go back to what those things are.
Okay. And what mine are will be different than everyone else's, right? Like, I've never made a cold call, and people are like, what? But if you're good at cold call, right? But when the streak hit, I went to, my sister works with me, and I went, now that we have the volume kind of building up, I don't want to work. Like, I don't want to put out the effort that it got us here. And I'm like, but knowing that I'm having that emotion, it's a check. Like, dude, do not stop. Like, you're building momentum. I love that you guys called it momentum builders, because I say it literally every day. But it's like, you've built the momentum. If you don't go back and do the things that got you here, you will always be the peaks and valley guy. And that's another thing I hate about our industry is, like right now, it's like, oh, we're in the mortgage business, kind of broke. Like, everyone's like, well, I'd love to do that, but I'm in the mortgage business. But 2020, 2021, no one was saying negative about being in the mortgage business. And we always say it's a peaks and valley business. It's peaks and valleys because we take our foot off the gas when we hit the peaks. And that's what puts us back into the valley.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's been our challenge as managers, is always to help people not have the peaks and valleys, Sean, because that's kind of how you just meander and don't really gain success, is when you do the peaks and valleys. But, I think about, and that has to do with keeping momentum going when it's going, because it's hard. It's just physics, right? It's hard to get something moving, but once it's moving, it's easier to keep it moving. So I think that, realistically speaking, when we're having success, we need to keep having success. And we've all done this, right? I'd like to do this thing called Text 20, and I'm just as guilty as everybody else. It was called Text 50, but then I found out that Text 50 is nearly impossible. What we did is we all got on a Zoom call together with my entire region, all the salespeople, and I said, let's start texting 50 people while we're all on this call, and I guarantee you good stuff will happen. And they're like, well, who do I text? And I first said, well, go to your Facebook and look for people go to your A's, go to your B's, and start texting people like that. And then I said, as I started looking through my text, I said, shit, don't even do that. Just look through your old text threads and just start texting people that you've already been texting with in the last 3 months, but something didn't happen. You didn't get back to them. We are salespeople. We miss things. We forget to do things. And so just text them, say, hey, how you doing? Just checking in. Simple text like that. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Hey, never followed up with this thing. By the time we got to like 25 texts, my phone is ringing. Everybody's getting text messages. We're all on the phone. The amount of activity it created was tremendous. And guess what we did? We never did it again.
That's right.
It was the best thing we've ever done, and we never did it again. So shame on me, because I should hold that every Friday. Every Friday we should do that, but it creates a lot of activity. So be prepared for, if you do that every Friday, you're going to be busy all weekend, and maybe you don't want that. So maybe you do it every Tuesday, whatever works for you. But if you just reach out to people, they're looking for human connection right now.
Yep.
There's so much noise out there that if you just have just an iota of humanity in you and you just reach out personally, you'll win.
Yeah. I mean, it really isn't rocket science, right? Like, I think everyone's looking for the magic pill, and I will talk about like the action steps that I take, because I think it's really important that everyone does that. But it's like, well, Sean's not doing anything special. Like, how did he do that? I'm not doing anything special. I just found what people like about me, right? And that's what we have to do. So I'll go into that a little bit. Actually, a takeaway from Momentum Builder. So I was on a call with a guy I coach, and he was just right after Momentum Builder. He's like, what did you hear about from all the economists and all this and that? And he like wanted it right now. I'm like, dude, I just left. Like, I've been in a room for like 16 hours straight learning, and you want me to digest all this for you immediately? And he was in that negative, angry emotion, right? And I was talking about Todd Duncan. I'd never heard Todd Duncan speak before. That was a first for me. And I'm like, oh, that guy's been around forever. Is he even relevant anymore? Dude, I left with so many notes from him, right? And I'm talking to this guy, and he's like kind of bashing, like, dude, it's old, it's irrelevant. I was like, I'm doing his 2-week challenge starting Monday. And the 2-week challenge is onboard 10 realtors over the next 2 weeks. So that's 1 realtor a day. So re-onboard, right? So these are existing relationships that are very easy to reach out to. I promise you, there are people that love working with you that you have not connected with for whatever reason. So he said, re-onboard 10 of your existing relationships and reach out to 50 people that you've helped buy homes or refinance in the past, 50 clients. And so I'm like, okay, that's very actionable. I got to meet with a realtor a day, right? That's actionable. And I need to reach out to 5 people Monday through Friday. however I want. If I like doing phone calls, I'll do phone calls. Most of my clients, they like text. So I did what you did, right? Just text, hey, how's it going? How's the house been? Right? Not, do you know anyone that is looking to buy or sell real estate? No, like just a conversation. I did what Todd said to do, and it was so simple. I'm assuming it's like, okay, if you could do that for 2 weeks, you could do that every 2 weeks, right?
Okay.
Like that's probably the idea is, okay, cool, you did it. Now, why can't you do this every single time? And what I liked about that process as well was when you say that you have to re-onboard, when you're onboarding someone, that assumes you know what your process is. And so and people are like, I don't know. I had a vague idea of what my value is, but going through that process made me really outline and define, like, when you work with me as a real estate agent, this is how it works. This is what you're getting, right? And by onboarding them, it means that we're on the same page and we want to do this together. It was such a cool concept.
I mean, there, like, I think about Ryan Grant, where Ryan Grant was saying, like, what is your value proposition? Why you? And this is the one that's been sitting with me. Ryan was very impactful for me because I'm like, why me? Why me? Why should someone choose me? So we did a presentation for real estate agents, and I turned it around on them and I said, why you? You all, I had 40 people in the room. I said, all of you hold the same license. And let's arguably say you all work for equally reputable companies, Remax, KW, Compass. I go, all of that's the same. Why you? And so I think that's hard. I think we need to look in the mirror and say, why does someone choose me? What is my value proposition? If Sean and I both do math well, and we both hold the same license, and we both sell the same shoe, why me?
Yep.
Well, and it's because for me, I'll tell you what it was for me, just because this might help somebody. It was my network. The network of people I have in my life bring value. So I said, listen, I look at tax returns for a living. I looked at your tax returns and your tax guy's not very good. So the reality of the matter is I'm going to save you 10, 20, $30,000 a year. So if my rate's a little higher by an eighth, it doesn't matter because I have a value proposition beyond what I do for a living. So that's what I did. That was my why me. But if you don't know why you got a problem.
100%. It starts there, right? And that's what I loved about that process. So then I'm talking to people. Actually, I'll go back. But I've only been originating since 2017. Before that, I was a wholesale rep for the most part, right? People would call me, mortgage advisors would call me, Sean, how do I grow my business? And I'd say, well, what makes you special? What do you mean? I'm like, well, you're calling a wholesale rep. I have 100 of you that have the same rates, access to the same program, same rates. So why should I choose you? That's the answer to your question, lies in you digging deep and figuring out who you are and who would be attracted to working with you, and knowing that you will not serve everyone. It is impossible to serve everyone. And that's what I've did is I've gone deep on, this is my process. I am who I am. People that like me will want to work with me, right? There's no sales, there's no gimmicks in what I do. I'm going to give you the most transparent process. I'm going to remove all the sales and gimmicks of the mortgage industry. I'm going to make sure that you know more about how your mortgage works than any other mortgage advisor does. And that's how I approach this. And so does everybody like me? No, but there's enough people that like me. There's enough people that I can serve to where I can, make a good living and help people make the biggest purchase of their life. And that's it. So for me, I think a lot of what's happening right now is we're comparing ourselves to others. We see success in other people. There's a guy at our company named Scott Evans who crushes these home buyer workshops. And he's doing them all over the country now. And he gets 100 people to come. And I'm like, well, I can run an ad and book a room and I can do that. I get everyone to click through to my ad. Nobody comes to my freaking thing. Well, how come I'm not as good as Scott, right? Why is Scott better than me? How come this works for Scott and it doesn't work for me? I went through that process last year. Then last year was the year of the reel, right? Everyone has to make Instagram reels. I go to Neil Dingra's class. I learn his formula, which I'm forever grateful for. And just being able to create what we talk about is pretty complex, to be able to make it short and sweet. I love that he figured that out. Why are these other people that went to Neil's thing growing faster than me? Why do they have 100,000 followers and I don't? How come they get 1 million views and I don't? And then I talk to those people and they aren't doing more business. And I'm like, well, then what's the point? Like, are you trying to be popular on Instagram? Are you trying to help more people?
That's Roland, right? Roland Cochran talked about that. And I think, and I suffer that because Don and I have been in media for a long time. We were, we did AM radio for a decade. We did daily video blogs for 3 years. We did the TV show. We did all this stuff. And you're like, I want views, I want clicks, I want likes, I want. And then Roland's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, does that make you any money? Do you get paid per click? And I'm like,
right.
No. He's like,
Are
why
you
do
trying? Yeah. Do you want to be an influencer? No, I want to be a mortgage advisor. Okay, then. But that was a good reality check. So I talked to one guy, he's crushing it with his videos, tons of views, tons of followers, all this and that. He's like, Sean, I haven't closed a loan in 2 months. And that was my reality check where I was like, I've never gone this year. This was 2022. I'm like, damn, I feel good about myself right now. And it was like, Sean, you lost your way. Like, you're the guy that talks about being yourself and being authentic. And you had to get the fancy light and the background and everything that everyone else is doing because you felt the need to compete from a visual perspective on this app because for some reason you lost sight of what your value is. And that drove me back. So am I using the same formula? Yes, but I'm only talking about things that I want to talk about. I'm not putting out random content. I'm not trying to reach the masses. I really don't care if somebody in Nebraska sees my video because I wouldn't end up helping them anyways. So there was a reality check that happened. And for me, what I want everyone here to do is you have to 80-20 everything. So it's Parkinson's law and Pareto principle are the two things that I really, really focus on. And Pareto principle is 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. If you're not reflecting back on where your business came from, then you're making you're wasting a ton of effort. So for me, the two things, I only have two, the two things that have led to my business are educating real estate agents and presenting in person. I love presenting in person. And so I try to do that as often as I can. And video, I've been making videos since before I was a mortgage advisor. So it's like, Sean, don't worry about Scott's home buyer workshops. He's killing it doing those, but you were killing it, helping real estate agents, doing workshops, doing webinars, and they either feel your confidence or they like you, so they refer you. So just get back to helping real estate agents, just get back to making videos, and everything else will line up. And now that you've gotten rid of all the other nonsense that you were focused on, now there's room for experimentation. So I still want to figure out the homebuyer workshop thing, but I don't feel bad that it's not working for me because I know what does work for me. And like Troy asked, if I'm not cold calling, how do I secure the agents that match up with my why? I use social media a lot. So one of the, this is a good story. One of the top producing real estate agents in Silicon Valley, if I called him and asked him to go to coffee, do you know how many times he hears that a week? So I'm on Instagram and I see, he rock climbs. I love rock climbing. So I hit him up and I said, hey, Alex, saw you like to go climbing. You want to go climb sometime and we'll talk about business? Yeah, let's go. It was that easy. And it was, where's my phone? It was with my thumbs. I didn't call him, sent him a DM. People like every realtor I call, if we're making an offer on a listing or something, what does their voicemail say? Hey, you've reached John Smith. I'm out on appointments. For a fast response, please text me, which is basically saying, don't leave me a voicemail. I don't want to hear your voice.
I wish Don was on this call because I had to re-educate him. Don is of a different generation. And I was telling him, stop leaving voicemails for people. He's like, because you get mad. He's like, nobody calls me back. I said, it's dead. It's dead. Voicemail is dead. People don't want to listen to a voicemail. People don't want to call you back. People want to know what you want. Text them and tell them what you want, and they will respond quickly. That's what we do today. And, text management is a really hard thing. That's why you have to respond instantaneously because otherwise it gets buried. Right?
I hate text. I hate it so much.
The worst method for us to be able to manage our business. There is no good way to manage it. So you have to just be responsive. That's the only way to manage it.
And I hate text because of that reason. I'm ADD and I'm the guy that's guilty of checking a text while driving, but then going, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be looking at this right now, putting down my phone, get to wherever I'm going. I'm like, who was that? What was that text I read? And then I don't reply. The fact that text, sorry, this is total sidebar, but it's a touch point for me. But in DMs, in Instagram DMs, I can go to unread. I can click, I can filter by unread, filtered by unanswered. How is that not possible with text messages still? But anyways, to your point, nobody wants a voicemail to the point when you guys look at your voicemail on your phone, what does it do? It transcribes it to text so that you don't have to listen to it.
100%.
But nobody wants it anymore. So why do we do it? So, it's self-awareness, looking at what other people want, and then finding the people that will connect well with you. Another thing, yeah, that's it. So, sorry, I was just reading Troy's message. Another thing for me is I don't, there's coaching programs that say to call whales, that's like a high producing real estate agent. I do the opposite. I look for people who need my help. So does somebody who's been super successful in real estate for 20 years need yet another mortgage advisor? Or does the person that just got into the business that's hosting that person's open houses every weekend need me, right? They need me. I focus on those people.
Dig in here, because this is important, because I think you have to earn whales, right? Whales are already, like you said, they're already in the marketplace. They're already successful. They're not going to take your call just because you called them. That's not how you earn a whale. You earn a whale by saving a deal, right? They get into trouble. They're in trouble with their seller. You come in and you rescue a transaction for them. That's the only way you're going to get in front of a whale that's meaningful. You'll be like, wow, no, my guy couldn't fix it, and you did, right? That's the way you're going to be able to win a whale. But what you just touched on is those people are ignored. You're talking about people that are good for, I don't know, 4 transactions a year, 3 transactions a year, and they're ignored. People don't pay attention to them. So if you do nurture those relationships and you do show them that you care, they're responsive and they feel like you love them.
And all those high producing agents that you're all chasing, at some point they were that person, right? So for me, I've always, day one, so 2017, first year originating, one of my best friends is a mortgage advisor. My mom's a mortgage advisor. No friends and family for me. Where do I start? I start with real estate agents. I like presenting. I'm a very solutions oriented person. If anybody says, Sean, this is my problem, I promise you I can figure it out. That's the way I've always been. So that's a trait that I have that I can confidently go out and pitch to people. But I looked for the newer agents, and it's like, well, the whale's not the one at the open house in front of the buyers. Their new buyer's agent who just got licensed is there because the whale wants their weekend. And I hate the term that whale. I hate that we call them that. It's so dumb. But
old term.
Right? It's just like it's salesy, and it's not. And so for me, if we're chasing whales, we're looking for what we want. This person does a lot of business, so I want them because they have what I want. I would rather serve somebody who's new, very nervous, right? Probably, if I can help you shortcut the path to closing more transactions in real estate, they love that. They need and want that. So I'm helping them. I'm giving them what they need. And as a result, I'm going to get what I want. But it always starts with serving somebody else. And just think of that emotion of the new agent, especially in this, I just got licensed and this is the market I'm coming into. What am I going to do?
You just talked about what you're driving there is loyalty. If you help someone when they're just starting out, there's something special to that person, right? You're able to coach them and mentor them. So imagine that script. And I see that somebody here is asking how they find newer agents. It's actually published. It's pretty easy to get a hold of. All the real estate companies usually get a list of everybody that gets a license. It's, at least in California, is public data. Like the day you get your license, you get 700 pieces of mail to come work for our brokerage. So I know it's public data. I would say ask a title officer. They probably get a hold of it. But I think you're driving loyalty. But imagine that script, right? Hey, I saw you just got your license. Congratulations, right? Who are you going to go work for? Oh, I'm going to go work for Remax. That's a great company. Who's going to be your mentor? Oh, this person. Because remember, every new agent has a mentor. So who's going to be your mentor? Oh, it's going to be Sean. Oh, Sean's a really great agent. They've been in the business for 20 years. That's a wonderful mentor. Or, yeah, look, I really care about you. How do you know that person? And they'll be like, well, I don't know. I just met them at an open house. I thought they were nice. I'd be like, I have someone that I think would be a great mentor for you. Would you mind meeting with that person? And then what if now you start giving larger agents the opportunity to mentor newer agents, and you start driving people's careers into that direction? When you start doing things like that, that's when you start getting exponential results. But you have to do it over and over and over again for a couple of years. It's like all of us have given a listing to an agent. We're like, oh, here, I gave you a listing. Now give me all your leads forever. It doesn't work that way. You got to give them a listing every month.
No, and I think to your point, so another thing I do, there's a group, there's a real estate agency out here, and they have a mentorship program, and they call it No Fear, right? Because new agents are fearful. This is a scary place to be. Door knocking is scaring. What am I going to say? What if somebody asks me a question? I don't have the answer. I'm going to lose business before I even have a chance. The fear that's in their mind. Same with that we had when we started, right? Going in. So think of what a sales manager at real estate office's job is. Their job is to add value every single month or week at their meetings. Hey, I want to come speak to all your new agents. How hard is that? Like, okay, as a sales manager of a real estate office, sweet. I don't have to think about what I'm going to add as value anymore because Sean called and is going to do a presentation for my new people, and I don't have to think about it.
And I'm
Like,
going to
that's
bring
a very
lunch.
easy thing to do.
I'm going to bring sandwiches and I'm going to teach your new agents. Sounds great.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about focusing on an ignored group of people. I think anytime you focus on an ignored group of people, you're going to have success. It just takes more. I think it takes a little more effort. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know that, there's going to be a lot of fallout because 70% of all real estate agents don't make it. But this is a great market because you never know who the next whale is going to be. Who is the next rising star? And a couple of guys that have worked on my team have really found some gems working with new agents, and they have that loyalty. And, it's somebody that was a zero, doesn't even appear on a list, not an MMI. You can't track them anywhere. And they go to making 20 deals a year. 20 deals a year makes you a successful real estate agent. And if you could put out of those 20 deals a year, usually they're buyers agents first. If out of those 20 deals a year, I get, I don't know, 30, 40% of them with our capture, it's pretty good. That's good business.
And with the numbers you said earlier, so let's use that example of, doesn't even have to be a new agent. Let's just say a lower producing agent. They close 3 transactions a year. If you have 10 of those, that's 30 transactions, right? If those people now do 5, if you can take them from 3 to 5, now you're doing 50 transactions. I don't need the 20-year veteran top producing real estate agent in my market to be able to do that volume. I just need to be selfless and help the people that actually need the help. And I guess it's selfish because I feel good when I get to help other people and show them how to do things. Like, it's rewarding to have people think you're smart and helpful, right? That's why I love working with new agents so much, because it's a synergistic relationship. They need my help so that they can be more successful. And I take a huge sense of pride in watching them become more successful. But to your point, you're going to kiss a few frogs. Not everyone's going to make it, right? And that's okay. I did my best for them. I did everything I could to help that person through. And ultimately, this just wasn't the right industry for them.
Yeah.
I'm sure you see that with your loan officers. Being a mortgage advisor isn't for everyone.
Well, I mean, let's talk about this for a minute. This is real right now. There are people in this industry reconsidering this career, and they've been successful over the last few years. Maybe they've been successful for 30 years, and they're still having self-doubt because they're having to reinvent themselves. I mean, that's why we do this every week, is to make sure that we expose people to all the different opportunities. And if they take one little nugget and apply it to their business, it can help them for the next week. That's the whole thing here. I just trying to help people every week. That's what we're trying to do with Momentum Builder. Is, yes, we want to help you once a year, but more importantly, we want to help you every week. And so I think to myself, I had Joe Tishkoff had a question about, what do you do with a realtor that's in love with rates, that's in love with their regional bank, right? Because look, you're in a jumbo market, I'm in a jumbo market. The regional banks have the advantage as it relates to rate right now. And like significant advantage, right? Like 1% to rate. And so how do you combat that right now? Because it's a problem, right? So that's our reality. Every at bat I get, they're like, oh, I'm perfect, I can go anywhere. If your borrower is perfect and they can go anywhere, that's a real challenge.
So I think that's shifting a little bit. And what I do is focus on what I can control, let go of what I can't, right? So if Wells Fargo can take in $1 million of deposits and discount someone's rate 0.5% because they can transfer them $1 million, I want to lose that deal as fast as possible, because there's a very high chance, like 90+% chance, they're going to find Wells at some point, for either before they're in contract or after. So I want to lose that fast. So I have a friend who works at Wells Fargo. Their pricing on conventional VA and high balance is awful. So we trade. Hey man, I'm going to refer you all my jumbo because they're going to find you anyways. And if they're going to find Wells, I'd rather they find you because I think you're great at what you do. and vice versa. Like, we're talking about doing presentations to financial advisors together. When has that ever happened? When have two mortgage advisors at competing companies gone out to say, look, he's really good at jumbo currently. That can change in an instant, right? He's really good at conventional. We're both really good at what we do. So while we work at different companies, we want to help you, period. Like, that's never, I don't know that that's ever been done.
Strategic partnerships.
With who we would think is competition. So instead of me trying to pitch somebody, if I'm talking about a rate at 7%, knowing someone, and I'm just pulling numbers out, knowing someone else is at 6, how's that conversation going to go? I'm fearful on the inside. I'm like, gosh, I hope I'm just going to tell them what this is. And man, I really hope they keep their head in the sand and don't look up at all, because otherwise this is all for nothing. And then I just do that for 30 days, every call, every offer, like, oh, I hope they don't find something else. Oh, they found something else. Damn, I knew that was going to happen. Well, if you know what's going to happen, just make it happen faster. Like, move on to the next deal. Let that go.
Ryan was talking about that, right? He's like, hey, I ask people up front, like, have you done all your shopping? And if you haven't, you should do it now.
That's what I do. I do the exact same. When Ryan said that, was one of the things where I was like, well, just another thing I'm not going to be able to talk about, but that's exactly what I do. So my process is pre-approval, do the pre-approval, build out a mortgage coach deck, which I call a buyer's guide. We do a review, and it's during that review process. So I say, you're pre-approved. Here's your options. Here's the things we've looked at. And I know we're running out of time, but I'll explain how I overcome rate too. But I go, okay, that being said, the lender is the biggest variable in the transaction. So when it comes time to making an offer, you really want to make sure you're using the lender that you intend to use through the whole thing. So have you started looking at other options? Have you compared lenders yet? No, I haven't done that yet. Do you think I should? Yeah, you should. They're going to do it anyways. Yeah, you should, because when it comes time to making an offer, the things I do to make your offer stand out in a crowd are so far beyond what anyone else will do. I can't do that unless I know you're going to stick with me. Am I putting myself in a position to get broken up with? Absolutely. But that's okay. I'd rather get broken up with sooner than later. And when it comes to rate, I tell buyers that they are going to choose their rate. I'm not going to assign an interest rate to them. Right. So, going back to the beginning of this conversation, what's your rate? What's your price? I tell them, look, there's multiple rates available every single day. I don't understand why the perception is that lenders assign interest rates to you, right? You go to these websites, it shows you a rate, when the fact of the matter, there's multiple rates available. I'm going to update your buyer's guide once you're in contract, when you're in a position to lock, and I'm going to let you choose which rate makes the most sense for you. I'm empowering the client instead of trying to be in a place of power.
I love that. I could think of one loan officer right now. I'm going to make listen to that over and over and over again, because they're struggling with that. And I think if they put the control back in the borrower, first of all, when you put control in their hands, they feel empowered. That really, nobody else is going to do that. That makes them feel good. And if they feel good, they're like, I like this guy. I'm going to work with him. So Sean, we are starting to run out of time here. There's a couple of housekeeping items that I want to make sure to take care of here. One of them is, please, guys, guys, gals, team, we need you in the app. And I'm guilty too. Like, we need to communicate in the app, share things, share wins. Hey, I got 2 deals in escrow today. That's the kind of stuff we want to see in the app on the feed. Right. And so, like I said, shame on me. I'm going to put more videos in there, because I like doing videos, like you said. And I'm just not going to be concerned about doing them professionally or whatever. I'm just going to pop a video in there. But let's have fun with the app. We do need everybody to engage in the app. That's where we want to be able to communicate as a team. The other thing is, next week we have Hal Elrod. So for those that haven't seen or heard Hal Elrod before, Hal is a person who will change how you feel about yourself. It'll help you encounter adversity in a much better way. We all encounter adversity. That man has encountered some crazy adversity, and then he's still happy and joyful, and he does all these great things. And you're like, damn, I need to be more like that. So we got Hal Elrod on next week, and Ryan Grant coming up the week after that. So those are my housekeeping items. But Sean, one thing I got to tell you, man, I think we hit the nail on the head today, because your secret was to be you. That's your secret. To do the things work repeatedly, and have faith that it's going to happen, right? Like, the push-up story is just so simple, but it's true. That's, and I'll just say about me, I know how to lose weight. Everybody does. Eat less, move more. It's not rocket science. but you have to have the discipline to do it. And the reason people don't do it is because they don't see the results quick enough. And so they think it's not working. So
And
I
that's
think
what I love about this community. So on that note, I need to lose some weight. I just started doing CrossFit, which I despise. But the reason I keep going back to CrossFit is because of the community. They're not holding me accountable, but I will do the work because they're all there. And that's what I think the momentum builder community is, right? If we're active in the app, if we're coming to these calls, you will see better results because there's some weird programming within us that wants to be better when we're surrounded by people that have the same motivation.
I love that. That's a mic drop right there. I don't think we have to talk too much more about that. But that's really it. And this keeps us accountable. This community keeps us accountable. It keeps Don and I on point. It keeps us learning. It keeps us reaching out. It keeps us searching for the best talent, the best ways to inspire and help people every single week. I mean, this is an accountability plan for us. So I really appreciate you being part of our tribe and helping everybody on the call today and helping others. And you can selfishly feel good about it. You did a good thing today.
Dude, I love, selfishly being selfless or selflessly being selfish. No, I wish I found the momentum builder community sooner. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I appreciate you bringing me in. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us like we do every week. We'll see you next week with Hal Elrod. And